real. I want to relive junior high school in a kinder and gentler way. I want to pay attention in English class. I want the Bee Gees to quit singing disco and go back to ballads. I want a pair of Superman glasses to hide my past behind. I want Lois Lane to get her Man of Steel. I want to feed Zoloft to the Hulk. I want to know why the Swamp Thing doesn't have a penis. Look at the comic book. I want Beauty to turn out the lights so the Beast isn't so self-conscious. I want them to show us that love is not about looks, class, race, or gender. And it is beautiful to be alive and love whomever you want to love. And I want you to be kind to yourself, because how can you be kind to others unless you know how to be kind to yourself? Turn your porch light on. We are all human. I don't care about your labels: liberal, conservative, boomer, X or Y, homed, homeless, Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, pagan, Muslim, Jew, black, white, pink, or green, gay, straight, transgendered, citizen, immigrant. We're all on a reunion path. Turn your porch light on and walk each other home. Amen. I'm going to read one more. For my friend Tiim Conroy. I rise early, too early. I have too many things to do. I don't sleep well. Do you? I'm afraid of failure, and the childhood admonition of my parents still echoes in my ear. Can't is a coward, a sluggard, too lazy to work. I don't want to be a failure. Do you? Yesterday you asked why I organize so many events. Damn you, Tim. This morning I wake at 2 a.m. and ask myself this question. My lack of sleep is all your fault. As I drove to my office, I was still asking myself that question. I guess the best answer I can offer is I seek escape from this life of ordered urbanity. Poetry and music is my escape, my safe haven. I see places where it would be cool to hear poetry or music and no one else is doing it. Can't is a coward, a sluggard, too lazy to work echoes in my head, and I do it. You're retired. Why the hell don't you? Did you know I work at my computer standing up so that I don't get too comfortable in my chair? That way I get more stuff done. I get stuff done. Did I tell you that? Why don't you? Your wife loves this poem. This morning, I was in the midst of writing this all down in a poem, and my damn computer shuts down to reboot. 3:30 in the fucking morning, and the campus gods of computing decide it is to update this refurbished piece of shit on my desk. Tim, did I tell you that I read that the smarter you are, the more you curse? And I curse a lot. Why don't you? I want my own reboot and update. I need to shut down and have McAfee search and quarantine the insomnia virus. So I make tea, go down the hall to the restroom and pee, and come back, and the damn computer is still fucking updating. Did I tell you smart people curse a lot? I had this poem in my head, but I no longer find comfortable composing with a notebook and pen, so I take notes on sticky notes and hope the flow will return when my damn computer reloads and lets me compose at my keyboard again. I hate computers, don't you? Tim, I hope I did not disturb your morning coffee. Do me a favor before you take your old man's nap. Can you check and see how my fantasy football team did? What? Don't whine about how busy you are. Can't is a coward, a sluggard too lazy to work, and you are a lazy fucking retired sluggard. Did I tell you that smart people curse a lot? Tim, if you keep hanging out with me, I may teach you how to curse.
Excuse me, I have to nap now. Don't know how I follow this. But...
You're going to be introduced.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Did everybody sign in?
Sorry about it.
No worries. No worries.
Everybody on this
You
list?
just were harassed a second ago, so you had to get out, but get away from that. Okay. Well, our feature tonight is Mr. Tiim Conroy. He is a poet and a former educator. His work has been published in journals, magazines, and compilations, including Fall Lines, Antebellum, Blue Mountain Review, Jasper, Marked by the Water, and Our Prince of Tribes. Writers remember Pat Conroy. In 2017, Muddy Ford Press published his first book of poetry, Theologies of the Train, edited by Columbia, South Carolina, Poet Laureate Ed Madden. No True Route was released in 2023, and a founding board member of the Pat Conroy Literary Center, established in his brother's honor, Tiim Conroy, lives in Beaufort. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I want to thank the South Carolina Poetry Society for the invitation to read. I'm not sure what field they went to pick the mushrooms to choose me from the cow patties, but I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. I feel there's a song by Danny Schmidt. Lang, do you know the songwriter Danny Schmidt? He has this song called The Company of Friends. And I really feel like I'm in the company of friends today. And so I thank you so much for being here. As many of y'all know, I said no to my writing for a long time. I said, Cataphy, you know the Greek poet C.P. Cataphy, Jim?
No, I don't.
The great poet. He has this poem, Shelfasi il Gran Rifiuto. And it basically is a poem about those that will say the great yes and those that will say the great no. And the people that say the great yes go on to the honor of their conviction. Well, I said no repeatedly to writing. I had a brother, Pat, and a sister, Carol, my eldest sister, Carol, who was a terrific poet, who encouraged me. They knew I wanted to write. And I just held back. First of all, I thought, how can I write when my brother's Pat Conroy? He's too damn good. But Pat knew I secretly wanted to, and they just harassed me like older siblings can do until I finally relented, and I said the yes to what I always wanted to do. And in the poem, the great no lasts forever. Those that say the great no, say it forever. But Cataphy didn't have my brother Pat or my sister Carol. And so, thank goodness. And I said yes. And I remember trembling at my first open mic that Al Black cajoled me like an older brother to take a risk and read at. And so really, Al, as much as I dislike him publicly, I love him. I love him. And he is my brother. So let's begin with a poem of risk. Circus. I clasp the hands of Philippe. Leap. He lifts me above his head in one motion. With my feet together, I mimic the angle of arches until a town surrounds my spine. I concentrate on the child with the small, I concentrate on the couple with the small child or the old man's beret. From this held view with quivering arms, in the clarity of compression, I feel the crowd twinge. I bend more until I'm close to you, until we're all acrobats held up by someone, the extraordinary feat of how not to be a body suspended alone. So, Charlene, you got, in this room, you feel Langston, right? And it's such a great honor to be in a room dedicated to one of our heroes. And this poem is entitled What Blinded Eyes. It was in a collection of poetry called Ukulele Searching for Healing Truth. What Blinded Eyes. When Sergeant Isaac Woodard was discharged in 1946 and rode a bus home to South Carolina, I was not born and had no eyes for him. When Sergeant Woodard, still in uniform, asked the driver to use the washroom and reasoned, I am a man just like you, I was not born and had no eyes for him. When the police chief of Batesburg blackjacked Sergeant Woodard's eyes to craters, I was not born and had no eyes for him. And when Jim Crow America saw African American World War II veterans pin their medals to ragdoll jobs, I was not born and had no eyes for them. But what of my sight now? I never viewed myself as the white bus driver angered at how Sergeant Woodard held his gaze and liberated himself. I never viewed myself as the white soldier who did nothing when Sergeant Woodard was ordered off the bus. And I never viewed myself as the white police chief who gouged Sergeant Woodard's eyes and bloodied him. Though I must see I am them, privileged, obedient, blind, turning off the latest lynching on TV, not doing enough, not then, not now. I like neighborhood poems. Motion detectors. Is there a safe path, even with a light aimed perfectly on the walkway or upon the camellia bushes? We imagine a world with shadows everywhere, lurking to steal lives. Each corner of the house wired, waiting to chase away a two-legged rascal, but usually illuminating a rotund raccoon on another garbage raid, or the neighbor's cat twitching its tail on the roof of a Prius. When the wind bends the branch to jiggle in front of its lens, we crack the door to check, convinced we know why it goes on and off. We glower at them as they shine upon what it is we fear, the perils of living with creatures like us.
Yes.
Mostly in my life, I stay pretty baffled. Swallow the why. I fly into a crowded bar, a half-full street, a labyrinth, make such inglorious choices, and wonder why I landed there. Mostly I swallow the why, buzz to whoever will listen, the clerk of lost screws at Ace Hardware, the membership checker at Costco, and the ex-con at Stan Car Wash. Make me believe I am part of how we are connected. But after a few hasty turns, I'm stuck behind the blinds again. Our initials. In America, I don't hear the bombs drop from my pontoon boat, though they have my initials. In America, I don't feel the fireball and shockwave from the blast like my retriever on July 4th. In America, I don't smell the smoldering buildings sipping my coffee while blue jays sing. In America, we don't see the dead bodies, but cast off prayers, whether they're women, men, children, young, or old. Here are two short pieces about our four-legged creatures that occupy our lives. My dog at the beach. I spot my dog chasing terns. It chews a corner off the horizon. I call to those that are lost. How this dog has taken my grief like a shell in its mouth. My plea, a sharp note on the wind. More than any person deserves, it brings me a dead fish. Pause. Thirst hangs from his tongue. Ears twitch at the ripped bag of chips. The dark mirth of eyes, ready to pounce the distance, nudge you to explore instincts where there are no saviors, lords, masters, only breeds that pant for the torn. The Great Ravine. Would you have ever guessed that you would make it to the other side of the Great Ravine? Why did you cross in high winds? Why did you tiptoe to the middle and dangle on one foot? Why did you have to juggle those swords? Aren't you suspicious of the knots? How many others have you witnessed fall, inching along in perfect weather? Full heart, daredevil, spender of your one life, what were you thinking and why have you started to cross back in the freezing rain? Why do you laugh when I say it's not safe? Are you singing? Where do you worship? Backyard church. When you worship weeds you can't name with pews full of bees, when you worship the procession of zebras to the jasmine, when you worship squirrels chattering morning gospels and turtles praying in garden temples, when you worship spiders that hang white robes on stained glass branches and the skink that rose from the dead, there's the new congregation of red shoulder bugs. There's rainwater in green chalices. Do you recall the moment you first belonged? We have this great, just like y'all around here in Beaufort, there's this great oak tree across from the Pat Conroy Literary Center, the Witness Tree, and it's full of history. If you ever get down to Beaufort, there's benches to sit under it, and it's just unbelievably powerful. And so this tree kind of inspired that poem. I didn't want to write the poem of the Witness Tree, but I wanted to write a poem of a tree. The community tree. The red-headed woodpecker opens my gift baskets of beetle larvae. The baby squirrel crawls from my fingers a trembling leaf before his first brave leap. I watch the northern cardinal eat worms between my toes. When the wrens sing with the tufted titmice, I think I've grown up in a town in a musical. I cannot survive without them. When one of them goes missing, my bark cracks. The great horned owl whispers in my empty cavity. They're etched in your ring. When raccoons waddle through moonlight and shadow on nightly raids, I pray. O God of sunlight and rain, O God of growth, let me watch their dance for hundreds of more years. Let me give them shelter. The distance between. The paddle in hand, kayak in water. I sit tall for the moment before dawn. Memory and grief belong on the shore. Those sister, brother, father, and mother fill my vision with the sounds of wings. I stroke each side, find a rhythm to glide, synchronous with the sounds of water. Each stroke I pull the mystery inward to feel I can move forward with silence, how the lake reveals itself with the sun on a day the distance between elbows. Meanwhile, my paddle clunks. Floating on top of the untamed deepness, I rest my paddle to what has begun. Dip in the water to be part of it. And this is a poem that I wrote while we were living in Florida, and it's called Cling, upon a visit to Dunedin's Gladys Douglas Park. How the ocean recedes, exposes a place even for sand pines, those misshapen crowns, thin trunks, and minuscule cones. Blessed be how they cling, how we explore trails with more heart, looking to glimpse the scrub jay. Though we dream of lusher gardens, we never consider it could be some bald place with rosemary shrubs, reindeer moss, and cactus flowers. How everything here is puny, beautifully shrunken and dry. We are gopher tortoises digging homes in poor soil. Surviving here means more. And this is a poem for my mother-in-law, just a haiku. Dementia, a tapis blue vase, still life under summer clouds, her voice of flowers. This next poem was done at Richland Library, with a group of people. Ed Madden was leading the course, and I was, we were all just mesmerized by Ed's teaching, and eventually, after probably a year and a half, this became a poem of working and working. One of the things about it's on my mind with the Poet House, Charlene, is my sister Carol was very active in the Poet House. She lived in New York City all her life, and she died January 1st of this year. And so, they gave a great send-off to Carol, the Poet House, and it was wonderful. But anyway, this poem I think she would have liked. It's called Marsh Deer. They pratfall a journey between twisted shrub oaks, part the blades of saw palmettos, glide through the last dry tickle of bristleglass and foxtail, more like a string of hooved prayer beads, giving thanks to the wilds. Their resolve, moss-draped, asks the dawn for its deepening, stands under its rose-amber wonder. They tease the surf. It grates them, kissing with wide smiles and quick legs. They kick and circle the white-tailed mystery. What draws them to the white foam, to the promise of crossings? What makes any creature choose uncertain currents? Green turtle hatchlings, bull sharks circling in creeks, the bric-a-brac of shattered shells, translucent dreams, heart-shaped impressions disappearing on a declivitous shore. Lives are as fleeting as bird songs, as long as letting go. And so I'm going to turn to sort of more poetry about my family in a second, but I'll read, "The heart is an eye. Sometimes the heart is an eye that sees the trouble coming. Sometimes it's a lump of flesh pumping sand through the hours, numb as any empty liquor bottle tossed away. Other times it's a star that everything revolves around. Brighter than a supermoon over water, it grabs the mic and sings. When I think I understand it, I don't. And I can't explain the inexplicable pluck of its center. It throws itself into trouble head first, even when it flutters in fear. It breaks over the littlest things, a sad flower stuck in a crack, a dog's warm lick. When shunned, it hides for years. But when it falls in love, it unbodies, floats." This is a poem that for my wife Terry. Home fires. Fresh cut as kids, we were thrown into the pits of our home fires. Under a blanket in the back seat of a 57 Chevy, she hid as her father pressed a snub nose against her mother's temple, while my dear old dad smashed my buzz cut against the walls of military housing. Years later, therapeutically tipsy, we met. Deprived of oxygen until she answered, I asked her out. First date, we sat cross-legged in a ballroom, serenaded by the swimming pool cues. Our eyes babbled. In the wee hours, we sat in a train station diner, eating pancakes, swapping passages from a short stack of syrupy westerns left on the ledge along our booth. Bad guys all vanquished. We flew open the team, plodding backward out of blind canyons to face a rocky trail. I know some of y'all have heard this story. This next poem, Apertures, is a poem that was written, inspired by Kathleen Robbins, who's a University of South Carolina professor, a wonderful professor of photography, and her efforts to save and salvage photographs from the Hurricane Matthew, which was caused great flooding in the Columbia area. And I think that was 2016, I think, Hurricane Matthew. Apertures, in a soft composition of rain, then an outpouring of grand expanse, rising to the hackberry, overwhelming the new deck, we fled 1,000 years. When floodwaters recede, the flesh of home sullied and sick, we focus lenses to memories, cross thresholds as shadow and light, see the demarcation of chance, watermarks on walls above the ruin of below, bone-dry oystermen in Savannah, wet muck on fresh in love faces, emulsion peeling layers of occasion from photos not worth another word. Toss albums into dumpsters, curse cameras from unlivable spaces, their apertures fixed to fate. Was it ever real? Our trip to Italy, the wedding on the beach at Edisto, stubbornly adhering to each other, no longer salvageable. And this is a poem, maybe a trigger warning. So it's a poem about mental health in its way. My brother Tom, my youngest brother Tom, committed suicide, and this is a poem. A part of this poem is a snippet that I found of a poem he wrote. Mm-hmm. On my brother's birthday, for Thomas Conroy, 1. I enter the dark cave of schizophrenia, of memory, of hallucinations, of auditory distortions, of a suicidal leap from a roof in a hard stop to a parked fate, two. His onset was a labyrinth, three. I share the poem he wrote in his question. I can't find the answer, four. Imperfect world, there are 4 tunnels of apartments, and we are in the tunnel of space of the here and the now. When I grow up, I want to be someone to be loved. 5, what is this black liquid that fills the day? And this is a poem for my mother. And like, I had a real complicated relationship with my mom. I had an abusive father. I had a mother that by the time Tom and I got around, she had checked out. She had done all she could for us, and she had been driven, in her own way, insane by my father's abuse. And so I didn't really have a chance to reconcile all the conflicting emotions I had with her. And she died young. She died at 59, and she died in 1984. So you can tell the how long ago it was. Mom's this poem is called Her Birthday. Mom's birthday comes in early January, and I shiver, surprised by how much I think of her. Since most of her life, I didn't think of her enough. I never understood her mystery inside my school lunch in a brown paper bag that I carried and still carry when I gathered with my siblings to laugh around the table. Bologna and sunbeam bread, Dukes and a dab of yellow mustard, iceberg lettuce, and, if lucky, a piece of sharp cheddar, cut in half and wrapped with hands that took the time to seal, the way a mother nourishes. When January lays me bare, I remember she fed me royal caviar. That gets me. I miss her. Turn to a poem about my dad. Only seems fair. The workshop a couple years ago I gave in Beaufort was sort of mining the feelings, mining these hard family feelings for poetry. And anyway, this is one of those poems. Lousy. My dad said lousy a lot to describe his children. A lousy jump shot, a lousy right fielder, a lousy bed maker, a lousy dishwasher with a lousy attitude. We had lousy eyes, freckles, and postures, but he would never admit we were stationed in lousy towns. We could have become lousy because he fought in 3 lousy wars, and he won a few lousy medals. Every year we left friends and moved on lousy cross-country car trips. He had a lousy temper and a lousy backhand. His world turned lousier when our mom divorced him. He was lousy in love with her. He tasted lousy when schizophrenia came from one of his sons. Afterward, he was never a lousy grandfather or a lousy money giver. He remained lousy at saying sorry. When he died, we never felt lousier and knew a pilot's love didn't land empty. His caps and his god-awful shirts, his lousy flaws, our hearts. This is a poem after Mary Oliver's Wild Geese. It's called You Will Not Stay Good, after Mary Oliver. After his body flew away, he read her good poem to comfort me. I do keep the words. I do listen for the wild flap of wings. I do not stay good. I do not stop my walk of grief for 100 years. I burn across the desert, and I do not kneel and I do not heal. I do not forget the call of loss. Harsh. And this is how am I doing with time? I'm doing okay.
Oh, you've got 5 minutes.
Let me do a poem called Visitations. And this just I have to say, this poem came one of those nights at a dinner party with these lovely people, Chuck and Pam and their daughter Carrie and Bonifacio. They were all there, and Chuck, he's 80 years old, 82, something like 80, and he's sort of like, he's the most giving human being. He's like first person that's making, going out trying to get a collection to build homes in Haiti, or he spent so much time in Africa with Pam doing missionary work. He's just one of those Christians that kind of give you hope that not all Christians are maniacs. And so he's just a good person. And he told me a story about his father. And it was just a story about his father. And it just, man, I couldn't believe I was hearing this. And I ran and took part of that story, and this became this poem. Visitations. After the sheriff tracked you down in the cabin in the Great Smokies and said your father was gone, you took the winding drive to be alone and saw him waiting in the bend, surprised he would appear so soon. The old buck nodded to tell you what he could never say aloud. You never felt more like a part of him. And when your mother died, surrounded by outstretched hands, you spied the black snake a week later disappearing into the mimosa, and you didn't have to wait to see where it went. It was enough that it moved silently to do things that a mother must do. And when your younger brother chose death and your older brother died of living too hard, they appeared together above Damascus as you hiked in the snow and spotted two ponies running like brothers, the younger pretending to be slower but chasing the other. Each threw kindred eyes at you until they disappeared over the hill, leaving tracks to follow, knowing one day you will appear across a field and stare at someone who will rejoice at the heart of a wild creature. This is a poem that was in my first collection, The Best Part. I think I'll end it on this point. The truth be known. Gay or straight, the priest gets paid. The nun has a shitty deal. The minister wants his ass kissed. Meanwhile, I have felt a voice in a forest of owls in ordinary spaces. Strangers have rescued me from peril. Like you, love has saved me. Your neighbor is human. We don't listen or tell it right. We take it literally. We can't write it down better. We make it too complicated. Who have you loved in this journey? What is it you have given? Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that concludes it. Thank you, Tim, for that lousy reading. And thank you, Al, for spicing up the language tonight. And we are going to be back right here on January 10th for the third and final reading for Columbia this year. And I hope you will join us. If you did not get on the list, I don't need your email, or if you don't want to give it, I just need an accounting of how many people are here. It's part of our funding. So please be sure that you are on the list, and I appreciate that. And I'm sure that Tim's got books to sell. Do you know?
If anybody is interested, I do have some
And
books.
lousy books.
I got some lousy books right here. For a lousy deal.
So anyway, thank you for being here. We've had a long day. We had a workshop earlier today. It's been a really fun day, and thanks for hosting us here at the center. It's a nice place. Good vibe.
Allan University. Our graduates are doing phenomenal things. Going on to Princeton, Harvard, Northwestern. So science program, business program. They're actually with Microsoft Word, recent graduates. Now, another graduate has been working with MUSC, and she actually is now going into the PhD program.
That's
great.
Yeah.
It's small, but it's great.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And of course, the English program.
Yes.
So there you go. All right.
So all right, thank you very much.
That's my phone. That's my phone.
Most of that.
That's my
You got it, man.